You're listening to Errol Parker and Clancy Overall, editors of the Batuta Advocate, on Desert Rock FM. Well, welcome back to the Batuta Advocate radio show. We've been on a good run of guests here at Batuta. We had Jackie Lambie on. Before that, we had a range of playwrights and authors and stuff, and really, we're just enjoying not having to talk about the federal election, if I'm honest, and that's why we're really trying to mix it up. Today, we're joined by, I guess you'd say, royalty of Australian sport, Australian combat sports. Mm-hmm. You've got me here in the booth, Clancy Overall, editor of the Batuta Advocate. I'm joined by Wendell Hussey, the Eternal Cadet. How are you, Wendell?
Yeah, going really well, thanks. As you said, it's a little bit of a change of pace today from the likes of Jackie Lambie, Ash Lange from Weather Zone, but we've got an identity in here, don't
we definitely do. An identity of sport. Jordan Simi, a man who has played 23 games of suburban rugby union for Randwick in Australia. We went deep on the actual stats here with 30 games of Group Rugby League in Gundagai for the Tigers out there. Here, the Tiger Roar. New South Wales kind of kept him for a little while. He did 2 games for North Sydney Bears, a short stint with the Coogee Dolphins where he busted 312 tackles, trucked the ball up 912 times, scored 4 tries and assisted 5 more. And now...
That's some good stats.
That's immortal stuff there.
Yeah,
that's 10th, 9th, 10th immortal, I think.
I believe he did a little stint in Northern England visiting a mate there. He got a job in a pub.
No southern France, though.
No
that's
southern France.
That's a bit of a missing.
No, he wants to go down there.
That was off-season.
Yeah, okay. Holidays.
That was down there in Marseille, down there hanging out with Piercy. He's had a hell of a time. And now he can add an official professional boxing fight to his name. Thank you for joining us, Jordan.
Thank you for having me, guys. You actually missed out a season I did over in Kalgoorlie in the country AFL league.
Oh, are you a Perth Kiwi? Are you a WA Kiwi?
I moved over to Perth, before Sydney. So I was I was working in the mines in Kalgoorlie, and they didn't have union there, obviously. So
how does minor footy go over there? That would be
it's disgusting
compared to Bush Rugby League.
It's very violent and slightly racist.
Imagine the heckle from the sidelines.
Yeah, sidelines, especially when you don't know what position you play.
Yeah.
Just running around the ruck, but it was a good time.
I want to go back to the start before we get to, the Cinderella story. Cinderella Simi, I've been calling him. Everyone wrote him off, but he came through. It was a wonderful thing for Australian boxing, what we saw the other night down there at the Hordern Pavilion. We, of course, were there. Shout out to the Rose Boys. Shout out to No Limit Promotions for hooking us up with the tickets, because we had to watch this. But I want to go back to the start.
And we're talking Jordan Simi against Queensland State of Origin great Justin Hodges, if you're not aware.
If you're not aware. Greats. Yeah, a man that I guess, Jordan, as a Kiwi, you might have grown up cheering for?
Mate, I actually loved, Hodges.
Yeah.
I loved it, just his nitty-grittiness. Like, he'd just always get into people's heads, even sometimes before the games. Always had people questioning him, his intentions before the game. But, he got into my head.
He got into your head?
Yeah, slightly.
We'll go back to the very start. Auckland?
Yeah, so I was born in Auckland, born in South Auckland, and got a rugby union scholarship to King's Prep and King's College over there.
Yeah. Right.
Played over there, and then and then moved over to Perth when I was about 14, 15.
Yeah. For the resources sector at that age, or your family already in the game?
No. So I was actually sent over to Perth to play rugby union.
Damn, force feeder.
Yeah, and so how that all came about, I was actually going to boarding school at King's, and I was there on the weekend, and a Perth high school came over. I think it might have been Scots or whatever it may be, and the coach comes into the boarding house and goes, we just need someone to play wing. But I was playing number 8 at this stage in union, so I was like, that's what I'll jump on. And I think I scored about 4 or 5 tries, and then one of the fathers were there scouting for the force, and then they hit me up to come over. But it was the start of the nightmare.
And please indulge us,
mate. Well,
14. Did they send you to school?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a sad run actually from that age, because my brother Thomas passed away. He committed suicide, and that rattled my family big time, rattled my old boy, and he just sort of went off the rails a bit and was like, just go over to Perth and whatnot. And a few family issues happened over there, and I actually was homeless. I spent some time at the force, And my at-home life wasn't good at all. It was just really, alcohol, drugs and all that jazz. So I was sort of scared to talk about it to the coaches. So they were saying, like, why are you late to training? Why are you coming?
And this is like the RM's Western Force guys.
Yeah.
Going,
So
what's going on? Why aren't you fucking at training?
Yeah.
on time,
So
mate?
this was around the same time as like James O'Connell was there.
Yep.
Pocock. Yeah. Sharp was still the captain.
Senator Pocock. Yeah. Nathan Sharp. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Early days of the Force.
Yeah. It was super early. So they were sort of just like, why are you coming to training? You're not putting any size on, you're sleeping after training. And I ended up running away from home.
Yep.
And sort of, me and my dad lost contact and I was sort of homeless for a few years until I turned 18.
And then got work in the mines there and kind of found yourself about that? Or?
Mate, I met this, this is how it sort of all came about. I had a mate that I had met, this other Kiwi guy. He became my best mate, and he actually committed suicide as well. So I'd sort of given up on the rugby
The nightmare.
dream.
You were right. I thought you were talking about a string of injuries, but it sounds like a lot more than that.
Yeah, well, that happened, and it was a lot of a dark time at that stage. So I thought, shit, I just gave up, and that's sort of when I was just living on the streets. And I can't remember exactly how I linked up with this Kiwi guy, but he reached out to me. He goes, man, I'm a supervisor. This is fast forwarded all to when I was around 17, 18. And he goes, I'm a supervisor in the mines. He's like, would you just come up and live in Kalgoorlie and work with me? So I thought, I was like, stuff it, I'll come up definitely. And he picked me up, drove down, picked me up. And I was like, hopefully there's no sexual favors involved in this. But the guy had a family and stuff, and he was just so
Isolated community.
I was like, what's going on here? But his
Just turned out to be a nice Kiwi guy.
just a nice Kiwi guy, not swingers. But yeah, so his wife and him took me in, man, and gave me a job working at this engineering company. And I think my first pay was something like $3,000 or something for a week's work. And I was like, this is an early mining, not early mines,
boom,
but during the boom. So I was like, I'm not leaving here. So yeah.
And then I want to fast forward through that. You obviously hit the paddock playing rural Aussie rules. Then I want to fast forward back over the other side of the continent. When you came into that fight, I gassed you up like you're a career fighter at the start, and which you may well be, and we're going to get to that later. But how did you end up finding yourself in this world where you're now a prominent podcaster, I guess, YouTuber, general kind of identity amongst Sydney's footballing and now combat sports crowds? And, you do have your followers. You have people that tune in every week to hear what the hell you got up to on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you guys know, I'm at YKTR. I've been mates with like Ice and stuff since about 2017. And I'd always sort of been the rat bag in the group, just partying all the time and whatnot. And
so they were all playing footy, and you'd stepped out by that stage.
Yeah. I'd go to I was out at Winnie doing New South Wales Cup and stuff, but then I was like, I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, stuff this, And so I was sort of Normie and I lived together, so I ended up moving in with Normie when Chico signed with the Broncos. So him and I were sort of just staying in this house together. I was working down at Kurnell at the oil refinery. I was actually supposed to go on maths.
Really?
Yeah. So that had all signed, all the contracts signed, everything. Normie was going to be my best man, and we made like a list of like 30 people, and I think it was a mixture of like NRL boys, AFL boys, union boys.
Would have been the absolute dream for Channel 9.
Oh man, it like we were like, this is going to be a laugh, And this is sort of when I had my foot in the door at YKTR, because it'd always be like to Ice, give me a shot at coming in, and he'd just be like, no.
I'm going to have 500,000 followers in any month now.
Well, I was lucky because people weren't too red hot on that season, but the last day I sort of just, I don't know, I was like, I can't do this.
Change of faith.
Yeah, just pulled out straight away. But yeah.
So you're living with Corey Norman.
Quiet household, I'd imagine.
I imagine, yeah. At this point, he's playing Origin at least.
Yeah.
He's playing every match, every season.
Yeah.
You've obviously got a big personality and stuff, so you're not considered one of the hangers-on. You're probably leading the boys.
Yeah.
But what's it like in those circles? That's what we want to know. When you're rolling young blokes, keys to the city, what is the vibe? Can you see how these boys get into trouble?
Yeah, it was. It's funny. It's funny though because a lot of them aren't actually troublemakers. Like my nickname's Troublemaker.
Yeah.
It just happens organically.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
But you remember the naughty boys from back home, weren't NRL players?
Nah, exactly. But you know, Normie wasn't having too much of like, you know, it was the back end of his NRL career, and it was tough seeing him actually fucking cop a lot of stick because you know, his phone would just blow up after games, and so you know, it was. I learnt a lot off him actually, just with that mental toughness. You know, a lot of people just see him as a bit of a playboy, you know, whatnot, but
no. And you're all quiet as church mice, and you absolutely. A misrepresentation of all of you.
We're artists.
A night in and a good movie.
Yeah.
We're artists, you know what I mean? It's no, we're just I always say, you know, we're just all misfits that found each other, you know, and Ice sort of brought us together. So
Isaac John, from the proud North Island region of Rotorua, where the hills emit this lovely kind of lavender smell of sulphur, and you've got all the go-karting and all that kind of stuff, tree lopping country.
Shit.
Yeah. So he's playing NRL. Yeah. Then you've got young Chico Seguiaro. You're not playing professional sport at this point, although, you know, you came to Australia with that in mind.
Yeah.
How do you end up becoming, you know, what many would say is like you've been platformed by a sporting media company, YKTR.
Yeah.
And you don't have the representative jerseys, and now you running your own show, and you have and it's not particularly sport at all.
Yeah,
tell me how that kind of came to be.
Okay, so the boys would always, you know, Normie would actually. He was a massive. He would always back me, saying, "Give this guy a podcast, give this guy something, put a camera in front of him, because the shit he does is just outrageous." And and you know, and YKTR is almost like a family thing. So Ice was sort of like, you know, he didn't really know me, didn't really trust me, so he was sort of like, I'll think about it. Yeah. I actually met all the boys through Chico first, because Chico and I used to do sprint training together with Roger.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I sort of weaseled my way in there. But Ice and I actually used to go at each other all the time back in the day, you know. But so this is how it actually came about, though. So they had the new office and stuff, and they were doing a companion. You know, they watched the games on YouTube and react to it, have a few beers. Well, I rocked up to the office pissed one afternoon / night, and I was sort of just waiting for them to finish so Scope and I could go get on the piss. And so then Rennie Matua didn't show up for the companion.
What, you telling me Rennie flaked?
Yeah.
We got him once. We're lucky enough. We got Rennie once.
He's mystical, man. Rennie's mystical. So they go, oh, you know, Simi, do you want to jump on? So I was like, yeah.
And you're already half cut.
Oh, mate, I was twisted, yeah. So I jumped on and you know, I just went for it, and then the comments just started to say, man, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? And that would have been about just a bit over a year ago.
Right.
Were you nervous for that? Was that like starting at a new club, having your run on debut, or was it just like greased up, let's go?
As soon as I have beers, it's like, as anyone, you know, you get that confidence and that glow. But I knew that it was my shot to make an impression.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I want to be a part of this, and you know, and I believe I can. Yeah. So
give me the ball.
Yeah, give me the ball.
Put me on, coach.
Yeah. So and it just went on from there. And then Scope and I did a bit of work together. But yeah.
For the listeners who aren't across YKTR, Scope is what I would have to say a very clever nickname for Justin Horro. Horro Scope.
Layers
to that, and also you know, another noted church mouse, another quiet little kind of Kiwi bloke that kind of just found his way through the world of NRL and you know, all the different kind of soft launch openings and stuff like that these guys get invited to, and found himself as somewhat of a media personality. So the tide rises together. We've got a range, well, I can say 4 NRL stars here, and this guy that walked in pissed one night when Rennie Matua wasn't there. And all of a sudden, we've now got YKTR's pivoting into dating and lifestyle. Yeah. And that's where you kind of, and you know, culture, lifestyle, as you mentioned earlier, the arts.
Yep.
So this is it. You're now a podcast. And I guess for anyone listening, this is how it happens. This is how we find these people, and this is how people make careers doing this stuff. Lord knows I don't know how any of those, prominent YouTubers or podcasters in America started. I don't want to say Jake and Logan Paul because you've been compared to them due to your boxing debut, but, no one really knows how it starts. All of a sudden, you've got this audience. You've got this fan base.
Yeah.
And you're hopping in a ring with Justin Hodges.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what led to that. Like, because this is now you've got stripes. None of those boys have been in a fight. None of them have been.
I said to the boys, I said, I'm the only professional athlete here, so fucking put me up on that pro professional athlete wall and put respect on my name. And they'd always go, you got the blue tick. How'd you get the blue tick? Who got it for you? And I'm like, I'm a fucking professional boxer now. So I mean,
you ask Fox Sports, man. I don't know.
So how that came about was Lukey, Lukey from YKTR.
Yep.
So he goes, I'm going to go train at Bondi Boxing Club. This was about 8 weeks prior to the fight happening. And I go, oh, that sounds exciting. Yeah, I'll come down and train with you. So him and I go do a 6 a.m. class, and we go to that one, and I'm like, fuck, that was amazing. I want to do it again. And he never came back. He just came down for that one and left me there. So then, I'm posting it up, and we had already been going to the fights like you guys, just doing a bit of content for No Limit here and there. And so I'd always joke around to Georgie, like, I'll jump in the ring for content. Like, why not? It'll go well. And we'd sort of just laugh back and forth. And I started training at Bondi Boxing, and I said to him, I go, man,
it's in my mind.
I like this feeling. Like it's a, so we kept chatting, and then the Brisbane card was coming up, and I had actually been in probably about a 6-week training camp before that. So I go, man, why don't I jump in there with anyone? He goes, would you fight Justin Hodges?
George Rose said this to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I was shitting myself. I was like, never boxed in my life, not even a sparring session at this point. So I go,
but I'm fit.
I was like, yeah, let's do it, right? So, and then it wasn't really locked in.
Yeah.
So then I get a call. He said, he wants to fight Benny Hannett. I was like, oh shit, all right, well fuck, it is what it is. So I pretty much got on the piss for about two weeks. Just all my training went out the window, and then I get a call up from Maddie. He goes, from Georgie and Maddie, and he goes, do you want to jump in the ring with Justin? He wants to go again with someone in Sydney. And sort of no one really wants to jump in, and because they haven't had time to train. And I was like, man, I'm never going to get this opportunity again. You never know when it's going to come. So I just go, yeah, let's fucking do it.
I remember you saying to me, you had, you just said then, you'd been on the piss, you'd been smoking, you
vaping, yeah.
So then tell us about
and this is 8 days before or 10 days? How much what's the time frame there?
About 8. It was 100% a lock 8 days prior to the fight. So I was like, man, they're going to do me dirty again, like I'm not going to stop. So I was like, there's no point stopping what got you to the dance, you know what I mean? So about 8 days.
And so was there somewhat of a rapid training camp then?
Oh, yeah. Because the Bondi Boxing weren't going to let me fight, because this is what they do. Like, this is their livelihood.
Well, not with their name on your shirt.
They were like, we're not going to let you walk out there and embarrass our fucking well-established boxing club. We haven't even seen you spar before.
Put some tape over the name.
Yeah. They were like, mate, we haven't even seen you spar before. And I go, trust me, I've got a feeling this is going to be a good night. And my coach is like, I don't even know you that well. He's like, man, this is the weirdest thing, because that they were like, this is so weird what's happening. And I was like, just trust me, I can do this. And he goes, so probably about 6 or 7 days out before the fight, he goes, all right, I'm gonna you have to spar to prove it. And I was like, okay, who am I going to spar? And then they're like, point at Steve, who's fucking 30 fights deep, been boxing there for years. He's there all day, every day. I'm like, okay, he's a bit smaller than me. Yeah, all right, let's get into it. And I think he punched me in the head about 30 to 40 times. I hit him maybe 3 times in the second round. And I got out of the 6th round, and he goes, all right, you can take a punch. Like, that's all that matters.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
It's just
so
like you
what-
can cop it.
yeah,
there's no chance, or there's little chance that you should just get dropped.
Yeah, well, because
20
he
seconds in.
was rocking me, like punching me as hard as he could.
After that, were you like, I'm done? And then, like, were you
No.
expecting
Tell
him
me
to be
the
like, you
thoughts
can't do
after
it?
that. Yeah, because you've obviously been there's some sort of a reality check there.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, it's a funny story. I told my coach, I go, man, you know, I'm not a boxer. I said, I've had so many street fights. I said, like, my dad. This is the area I grew up in, right?
Yeah.
The fathers used to get all the kids and make them fight each other.
What suburbs is this in Auckland?
Mangere East.
Yeah.
So,
Home of
like-
Olsen Filipana.
Yeah. So the old boy used to make me fight other kids in the neighborhood. The dads used to bet on us, almost like cockfighting. So I had been punched in the head a million times before I even turned 15. So I had no issue about getting hit. It was more my fitness. That was, you know, I'm an
that
Islander
hurts.
boy. I like to dabble in the McDonald's and the you know, the bad foods, the dark arts. So that was the only thing I was scared of. I didn't want to gas out to a point where like I was just leaning against the ropes and getting touched up
and getting
really, really bad.
Yeah. Bondi Boxing were confident in sending you in there with their name on you. And then you end up in the media junket circuit, which is interesting because not many fighters are coming in with your kind of gift of the gab because, you know, you spent, I don't know how many episodes you would have done now, just talking,
About
podcasting.
50.
Yeah, 50. And you know, you've been on other podcasts and
Yeah.
you've been in this world. So you've got that skill set, which is funny because most fighters don't have that. Well, with what they have that you don't have, you know, you also have the ability to sell a fight.
Yeah.
And it became clear that you were going at all stations here when you declared live to Fox News that you were doing it to win back your girlfriend.
Notebook 2.0.
Yeah, fuck it, man. You know that. So embarrassing, man.
It's good stuff.
It's so funny because
That was when we got our tickets, by the way.
oh really?
Yeah, when we heard that, we're like,
Yeah.
damn, oh, this is like a
Elite content.
This is true romance.
Well, man, it was genuine, you know, because a part of the other reason why I jumped into the Bondi Boxing was because I was sad. I was sad about the breakup, you know, and you know, men don't talk about it as much as they should. I was just like, I don't know if you want to call it romantic or a psychopath, but I'm in the middle there somewhere where I'm like, you know, why don't I use this stage to just not, you know, go and fight like a fucking Viking to, you know, show my girlfriend that I love her with my axe and my shield. It was more me just going, you know, doing something and then saying, hey, I love you, you know, just being on that stage and saying, I miss you, I love you. Come on. Enough's enough, you know. So
you said that before you even got in the ring in the promo junkets.
yeah.
There was a lot of standing up, flexing the arms. I'm going to win her back. And, you know, your ex-missus was, you know, she's a model. And didn't the Daily Mail love that? There was photos of the two of you spliced, like, for the love of war and that kind of stuff.
They're trying to lean into the audience of like 55-year-old Grahams on the Daily Telegraph. And they're like, oh, bloody how ridiculous is this?
Well, so what happened was the whole media thing that happened, everyone was telling me, don't bring her up. Don't do it. Don't embarrass the sport. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass the club. You know, don't embarrass YKTR. And I'm like,
Don't embarrass her.
that's why I'm like, don't embarrass her. Don't embarrass her and embarrass her family. And I was like, man, that's why no one will remember your name. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I know her. She'll love this. It's a personal thing between her and I don't care what anyone else thinks. So the first media day, I was super humble. I was like, yeah, I'm fighting an NRL great. And that's the way I am. I didn't want to shit talk or anything. And the boys come and I was like, oh, so what did you guys think? They're like, 4 or 5 out of 10. And I was like, what? They're like, you got to G up the fight. And I was like, oh man, that shit makes me cringe. Like, and you know, this is when I say Justin Hodges got me. He was talking shit on the radio and stuff. You know, who's this wannabe? And then the media day, they go, you know, you got to get after him. If you get him, you know, get the fight pumping. I'm like, oh, all right, then sweet. Like, what do you want me to say? So the boys go, just attack his age and stuff and his last fight. And I go, okay, sweet. So I attack him. Felt horrible about it. And then they pass it on to him. They go, so what do you reckon, Justin? He goes, oh, man, I'm just really grateful to be here. And I was like, oh, shit. Now I'm the douchebag. Like, I'm the villain.
Grandpa.
Yeah, and I didn't, honestly, man, I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, holy shit, this is so ugly. And then after he got off, we sort of went face to face, and I was like, "You bastard! You bloody Hodges me."
Yeah. Mind games.
So you just decided to talk about love after that,
mate. So then, So what happened was I ran into the Daily Telegraph guy, and he goes, "What? Like, what made you start fighting?" And I was like, "I'm just going to be honest with you, man." I was like, I wanted to, get my ex-girlfriend back." And then you just seen the Bondi boxing coach. Everyone's like, "Fuck, no." And then I was just like, "Yeah, well, you know what? I'm telling you the truth, man." I said, I fucking want to get my ex-girlfriend back, and I want to use this stage to tell the world that I love her. And, and he actually went word for word on it, but then it got picked apart from the other powers. Yeah, like, this is so, masculine, and like, this guy's disgusting, like fighting for love. Like, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, fuck.
Well, you did your job. Everyone's talking.
Yeah. But the funniest one was me going on Sky News about it. Did you not see that?
Didn't see this one.
I get this email. They're like, "Hey Jordan, like such and such from Sky News. Love The Notebook and love your love story. Can you come on Sky News and do like have a little live chat on live TV about it?" So I was like, "Yeah, sweet."
And what do you think about climate change and
Donald Trump.
and same-sex marriage?
Yeah. One guy's like, "Why are you here?" I was like, "Man, I don't even know. They emailed me last night."
Oh man, that's some good press. I mean, I know George, you'd be loving it.
Yeah, it went, man. The guy from the Daily Telegraph said it was the most clicked on sports story in the past year or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and said that something like that. So yeah, he was having a laugh, and but it was genuine, man. It was genuine. A lot of people like, "Oh, he's just doing it," but I love Sammy. Like, I'm bloody obsessed with her. So I was like, I'm just able to come on a boxing stage and tell her I love her. Like,
any luck?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Back on.
I'm trying. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, mate. I'm
Another
working
fight.
on it.
We need another fight.
It's what's
She
next
said,
now.
"You can get Gal. We're on."
Yeah.
Do it. Call it now.
Mate, yeah, I'll fight Gal for sure.
Yeah, right.
I'll fight Gal for sure.
Here we go.
After that experience, I'll fight it. Honestly, I would fight anyone.
Okay, so that Daily Telegraph journalist right now,
Yeah.
this is your headline. Jordan Simi says, still hasn't won back ex-girlfriend willing to fight Gal.
I'd literally fight bloody Scott Morrison if I have to.
Well,
Bam Bam. That'd be a good one. Tuivasa.
Oh yeah, no, that's stretching it,
I don't know if Scott Morrison would be much of a fight.
Yeah,
Now, tell us.
a debate. I mean,
Challenge him to a debate. Tell us about the fight.
Yeah.
You're in the ring. All right, you've already called out Gal, so we haven't really kind of walked through the actual 4 rounds there. You walk out to Black Skinhead, absolute track. Was that one that's been on your mind for years?
well, it was one of those songs that you go, I could walk out to a fight
Yeah.
with this. You might just be watching Home and Away one night, and and this song comes on, and you're like, I could walk out to this, but I wanted to come out to Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah, right.
And no one would let me. I was picking country songs. I love country music, so I was picking country songs, bit of Mariah Carey, but everyone was like, no. I should have stuck to my guns because that song pumped my heart so much. By the time I got to the ring, I was fucking puffing.
Yeah.
And then my coach, I don't know if you've seen, but when we were walking out, he was almost sprinting to the ring, and I was like, I had felt the need to keep up with him, So, but yeah, came out to a bit of Kanye West.
Now, Clancy, listeners to this podcast will know Clancy has quite a storied history in tent boxing around Queensland. He's been in a few fights himself. I have only been in a few, maybe out the front of licensed establishments, footy field, that sort of stuff. Not proper
style.
fights.
Yeah.
As someone who, this is your first professional fight, what are the thoughts going through your mind going out into that ring? What are you thinking? Is it just you're scared of getting gassed out, or genuinely what is running through your mind with all those people around you?
So we get there, everyone's saying hello, blah blah blah, and we get into the tent, and I'm like, I sort of sit down and I'm like, fuck, I'm like, man, what the hell am I doing?
This is Maths 2017 all over again.
This is commitment. I was like, this is. I wasn't scared about the fighting aspect. That only lasted for I reckon about 5 minutes, where I was sort of like, shit.
It's a long 5 minutes.
Oh, mate, yeah, it was fucking long. But someone said to me, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been one of my coaches goes, the only way, you're not going to, let the size of the night, defeat you, or, give you anxiety or make you freeze in there is it's just actually thinking like you're the man.
Yeah.
Like thinking you're Muhammad Ali, thinking, you can box with the best of them, thinking that everyone actually came to see you. And I'm like, well, they did. And he's like, exactly. So I was like, all right, and so I changed, as soon as I changed my mind frame to that, I wasn't actually scared of the crowd or the people watching or people watching it on TV. I was sort of like, this is actually going to be probably one of the best moments of my life.
And this is my moment, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, but it was almost like a out-of-body experience flying, and, I really wanted to win. I knew there was a big chance that I was going to gas out, but I decided that I needed to manage the fight, so it was like a slow burn.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't like just like, first round, throw it all out, and then what happened in the third happens at the end of the first, and it just... Because I knew it was going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
You were carrying yourself pretty well, but I see ex-footballers, particularly undercooked ones, and I wouldn't say Hodges is one of these because he's been fighting for a while now, but you see those blokes, particularly when they just do those full cards of footy fights, and you see them taking in big breaths around the third, fourth, or around the third. Yeah. Some of those ones go way too long.
Yeah,
they've got guys in their first fight doing 10 rounds.
Yeah, it's almost like they're in the pub fight. The first couple, they're just throwing them everywhere, and they're like, "Fuck, I don't know what to do now."
And if you have seen those pub fights, you have seen pub fights that go so long that people are fucked.
Yeah,
They end up just kind of like cuddling on the ground.
Like, come on, man.
In the shirts.
Thanks, bro. You end up saying thanks, bro. Like, have a good night.
Everyone's embarrassed here. Get off the ground. Let's go. Tell us, when did you start feeling that burn? When did the air feel colder?
Mate, the end of the second round, I was like, oh shit, like I'm blowing here. But the thing that was hardest for me that I didn't have experience on was I was second guessing myself in there because my coach, in my mind, I was like, I'm going to throw a jab and then uppercut or a hook and then, uppercut, whatever it may be, whatever combo it may be. But then my coach would yell out something else. Yeah. And that, I think, just comes with training, sparring, time together.
Being able to read each other.
Yeah. So, I would be about to go throw something and he'd go, hook. And I'd be like, shit. So that was a hard thing. There was almost one point where I was just going to be like, man, because I yelled at him. I don't know if you heard me, but he goes, breathe, Jordan. I go, I am fucking breathing. And he goes, no one's ever yelled at me. So I came to the corner. He's like, don't fucking yell at me again. I'm like, I'm fucking breathing. But it was a second round. And then in my mind, I was like, all right, I need to just try and manage my punching, manage my breathing, and I was like, I'm just not going to get knocked out. So that was like my main thing. So, but
did you feel him rock you? I mean, I couldn't see it personally.
Oh, yeah.
Was there one or two where you...
Yeah, I think it actually happened in the second round or the start of the third. He came with a right and I moved in closer to him and his forearm hit the back of my head, just out the back here. And my eyes instantly went cross-eyed.
Oh, no.
Like, my eyes, it felt like someone was pushing them in like that. And you can see me go like that, shake my head. And then he smiled at me, and then I smiled at him. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, this is sick. Like, I was like, man, because when you get in there, you try and, because I'm quite a loose fighter, I was like, I was trying to just be too tight and, like, move around like a boxer instead of just moving around like, dancing around. But he rocked me then. But my eyes instantly just went like cross-eyed, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm about to get knocked out here, and we smiled at each other. But the best part of it was there was a moment we hugged each other, and he's like, don't let go, man, don't let go, because he was knackered, and I was like, trust me, man, I'm not going anywhere, and we laughed, and that very moment, I was like things in my life sort of like flickered in my mind. I was like, I'm in the ring with like Justin Hodges in front of fucking thousands of people. Like,
sorry for all those things I said to you on that day.
I told. This is a funny story. A lot of people don't know, but he actually talked about it. But I gave him some clothes from YKTR.
Yeah, right.
Did you guys hear about that?
No.
So like on the weigh-in, he was wearing the same kit, and I was like, the fuck. Like, what's going on here? Like, and then someone goes, oh, they lost his luggage at the airport, and then I was like, that's slack. So I hit him up afterwards. I said, oh, hey man, like, where are you staying? I'll come drop you off a box of clothes and shit. So him and I actually spoke for like an hour, like the day before the fight. We just sat there vaping, like, just talking at the casino at the air and the thing. Like had a bit of a steak sandwich, and like we were just chatting, man. And he was giving me good advice, and I was trying to think like he's trying to little bro me, so I feel bad. But he goes, like I'm going to try and knock you out, and we just had a mad chat before that. And I said, man, sorry for saying that stuff. Like that wasn't me. I said, the fight game is. This is
the most unconventional pre-fight preparation I've ever heard of. I had a steak sandwich and apologise for everything you said.
Yeah, I bought him a box of clothes too, and he's like, thanks, bro. And we just we sat there and we just talked for an hour, man. And I said to my old boy, because like my dad's a massive Queensland supporter and stuff. It's a funny fucking story too. But yeah, I was like, man, I was just talking to Justin Hodges for about an hour of having a steak sandwich before we fight each other. Like, what?
Well, you get through all 4 rounds. You lose just on points, which is as good as kind of winning a match, I guess. If your first ever match, you're saying you just admitted then in the ring that you weren't familiar with taking instruction from the corner mid-fight to get through that.
It was annoying me, to be honest with you. I was like, fuck up. Sorry for swearing.
No, you're right on this one. So then you get there, you've done it. How soon after that fight did the conversations, what about your next one? Did you walk into the drinks after the match and one of the Rose boys says, let's do it again?
Yeah, well, I actually, as soon as I got into the change room, after the fight, I was like, fuck, if I had a nice 6 to 8 week training camp, I would have definitely won that, because it was just the engine that blew out. So I pulled my shots and I couldn't punch in because I was just exhausted. But straight away, and plus 2, I made a bit of coin from it. So I was like, and that was only in a 2 week, well, not even that, like a 10-day period. So I was like, man, if I can do this again, make a stack of cash and, fight someone else and actually not gas out this time. I seen Maddie and called Georgie the next day, and I said, yeah, sign me up. So,
wow, here we go. Well, you've already called out Gal. Is anyone else in your scope?
Yeah, I mean, man, I would like to. I would honestly fight every month in the back end of the year, like any NRL player. Probably not Junior Paulo. Something about him just not right, you know what I mean? And he's just such a nice guy as well that it's just weird. You'd rather him be an arsehole. But yeah, I not necessarily. I mean, the boys, Georgie and stuff, did potentially say John Sutton.
Okay,
he was training the other day. I know heaps of those boys down from Maroubra and stuff, and it's just
Rennie.
Yeah, well, man, Rennie's apparently can throw them.
Yeah, he's had a fight actually.
Yeah, so who knows, man? I'd honestly, if they hit me up and said, "Do you want to fight anyone?" I would do it. Yeah.
Oh well.
Surely it's Gal, knockout Gal, SBW.
No, knockout Gal, get the missus back. SBW.
Yeah.
Engagement
on cloud 9.
I honestly.
Post-fight engagement, like Toto style. You could.
I'm thinking maybe UFC.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Maybe even wrestling.
Yeah. Well, PWA as well. That's we obviously Dancing Clancy Overall made his debut earlier this year. Simi, that could be some good off-season training for you. Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man's a nice. I love that. I actually fucking love that. But you know what? I just it was a thing to the boys at YKTR and stuff. I said we could literally infiltrate. We just infiltrated Australian boxing and actually pretty much got majority of the press for that.
Well,
whole
that's
fight.
it. They said to you at the start, don't embarrass your company, don't embarrass the sport, don't embarrass your girlfriend, don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass your family or her family. And they were just talking about the media. You managed to get through the fight without doing any of that either. I think it's on the up and up for the Cinderella Man, Simi.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today, mate. I'm actually, in my mind, I'm going over who is out there. Because some of these players are fighting mid-career too. Yeah,
that's what I mean. At the end of the season, I would love to fight as many NRL players as possible. I mean, not saying that I want to beat up NRL players. I mean, even union players. Oh, actually,
Quaid.
Maybe Drew Mitchell.
Yeah,
he was talking shit about NRL players and footy players. But that'd be a nice one.
Drew Mitchell and Quaid?
Nah, I can't fight Quaid. Nah. I'd lose.
He's had so many fights.
Yeah, no, but I actually I talk to Quade a lot. You know, this is another crazy thing too, man. Is like the line of work that I found myself in and the circles that I found myself in. You know, Sonny Bill reaching out to me, Quade reaching out to me, like just people that, you know, you just would never have thought.
You could have played 300 games of NRL and probably not got those text messages.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just super grateful for anything and everything that comes with it, man. So
Well, you've done it, mate. You've done it, Simi.
thanks, mate.
One
Appreciate
fight
it.
under the belt
One man's fight for love.
and plenty more to come.
Yeah, I've got another big thing coming up too for the fight for love. Is I'm doing an art show.
Oh, right.
An art-
Painter.
yeah.
Fuck, he's an all-rounder.
I'm an artist too. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
So I'm doing a big art show in Piermont.
Okay.
Yeah, so that should be that's my next thing. So keep an eye out on the papers for that.
Fuck, Cinderella, Basquiat. Everything.
You got it, man, in this league.
Yeah, well, thank you. And where can the listeners on the track who haven't heard, where can they find you now?
My podcast is Grouse and a Few Reds. Instagram jordan.simi and yeah, YKTR Sports.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.